The world of work is constantly evolving, bringing with it opportunities but also risks for workers globally. African economies are registering high economic growth and high rates of industrialization and urbanization and growth in entrepreneurship. But with it comes new and increasing industrial and social risks and limited protection, putting pressure on public administration systems to adapt. In South Africa, the number of small businesses and informal economy workers is increasing and they are the most vulnerable.
Social protection includes policies and programs which aim to reduce poverty and vulnerability. They reach large sections of the population. It's called protection because the aim is to reduce people's exposure to social and economic risk.
In South Africa, we have a number of social security systems in place, run by some by social development, some by other departments. And then we also have a few compensation funds, such as your unemployment insurance fund. However, that's housed in the Department of Labour.
The Unemployment Insurance Fund is a government entity reporting under the Department of Labour. It was established to provide short-term insurance to workers who have become unemployed. It's so important, especially in the current economic times. As we know, in South Africa, there's high unemployment levels. So this couldn't have been a better time for UIF to come in and provide relief to those people who lose their jobs.
Over 1 million women in South Africa are currently employed as domestic workers, and they are an essential part of the labor force. Often, they are the sole providers for their families, and when their income is lost, even for a short time, a chance at creating an equal society is also lost.
Igama lami ngu-Elizabeth Ngwenya, ngihlala e-Orange Farm, ngineminyaka ewu-52. La ekhaya ngihlala ngedwa. Kusho ukuthi indoda eyayingishadile yashona ngo-2015. Umntwana benginaye oyi-1 washona ngo-2013. Manje la sengisebenza khona sengisebenza emakhishini as a domestic, ngiyaklina, ngiyawasha, ngiya-ayina. Umuntu mangitshela nge-UIF ngicabanga ukuthi kuzoba khona ukuthi kube nemali efanele idonswe kule mali engiyitholayo kwenzele ukuthi mhlase amandla sewaphelile ngikwazi ukuyithola back leyo mali kube imali engiyiphilisa ngayo. Abantu engibasebenzelayo abakakhulumi ngaleyo nto leyo ye-UIF abakazi. Akungiphathi kahle ngoba angazi noma ngi-registered or angikho registered, kusho ukuthi mangaqala ngagula kakhulu kuzofanele ukuthi ngihlale nje ekhaya, kuzobe kungana income, kuzobe kungana next.
In 2003, it was stipulated that domestic workers should be registered with the Department of Labour, that employers and employees should contribute to the UIF, and that workers should have formal employment contracts that clearly state their working hours, their remuneration rates, and procedures for terminating contracts.
The biggest challenge that we face at the UIF is the non-compliance by the employers. First, small employers do not contribute to the UIF. And once their employees come to claim for UIF, you find that the employers have not been paying UIF.
To date, there are 670,000 domestic workers registered with the UIF. The UIF has also strengthened its enforcement penalties and regulated against third-party agents charging contributors for registration in ways that penalize them. It is imperative that the administration of benefits is as cost-effective as possible for vulnerable and low-income workers to ensure that adequate benefits are received.
Lebitso la ka ke nna Refilwe Montsho, ke nna mo social ngube mo di-XX. Ke na le bana ba 3 banyana fela, ke na le 44 years. A ke bereke ke mo hae, and then 20 years ke le domestic worker. Nkile ka claima for UIF ka gore ke berekile 20 years, at least ke tlo kry tšheletenyana, and then engwe ne nka e safer, and then engwe ka e berekisa dilo tsaka. My dreams ke go kry mmereko, ke bereke, ke kgone go tsentsha bana ba ka sekolo. Se solo thata-thata go isa bana ba ka sekolo.
The new UIF Act allows the Minister of Labour to issue special regulations for employees of small businesses to ensure that they are covered under the existing short-term benefits fund. This can provide room for innovation.
I think there's a misconception that you have to do all this corporate governance as a small business. Entrepreneurs shy away from registering because of the corporate governance. It's a scary thing to be a formal business and to have all this responsibility. A simple change such as making entrepreneurs or small businesses pay on income, and every time you get a check, 14% gets taken off. No entrepreneurs will fall behind on that. So there's ways that it can be made easier for entrepreneurs, but that, and the complexity of that is what makes entrepreneurs shy away from formally registering.
There could changes, and I think the best way to change is by basically being able to work with small businesses. I mean, I'm working with big business right now, and you structure your business according to the same systems as big business. It works a lot easier. And I think that's the most important thing, is that sometimes we're too scared to approach big business because we think big business is going to steal our business anyway. But there are a lot of lessons you can learn from big business. Big business is mandated by government to give small businesses a little bit of quite a chunk of their business to them. So if you don't approach them and you first-hand primarily the people that they're giving business to, how then do you expect to grow? Government has mandated these people to give you an opportunity to work with them.
UIF, hand in hand with government, are hosting public education awareness campaigns. These campaigns are aimed at the unemployed workers and non-registered workers. A UIF mobile van has also been implemented, reducing distances to registration offices. Domestic workers are not covered by pension and employment injury insurance.
In South Africa, the panorama of social protection has a historical legacy whereby blue-collar workers and predominantly black workers were covered under provident funds, and white-collar workers, usually white workers, were covered under occupational pension funds. And today there is need to consider broader-based solidarity to include all workers, especially the most vulnerable. It's clear today that informal economy workers and vulnerable workers cannot be covered by dedicated schemes. The important thing is to trial a different mechanism and to progressively build the capacity to be able to adapt to the needs of different occupations.
Government has produced a social security discussion document for us to begin to engage society on how we fulfill this constitutional mandate to provide social security and the right to access social security. And I think the key aspect of this paper is that it moves away from what many regard as these modern forms of social security. This sort of takes the more traditional approach where it says that social security is a social compact, and there's this important need to have social dialogue around this matter for you to get it right and to make sure that this is what society wants.
The discussion paper tries to address key challenges. Informal workers like domestic, farm, and contract workers without any coverage is the first priority. There are reforms that need to be done to increase the coverage, particularly of retirement benefits for these groups. This can be made twofold: the expansion of the old age grant with some element of solidarity for the most vulnerable categories of workers, and the setting up of a national security fund to increase the efficiency for the administration of social security. But the most important, progressive coverage of all workers. It aims to bring everybody under the same umbrella, small business operators and independent workers alike. Although South Africa has an advanced social security system, there is still more that needs to be done to bring it in line with the international labor standards.
This film was brought to you by the International Labour Organization in partnership with the Government of Finland and Flanders for the East and Central Africa Social Security Association.